Hi, welcome. Thanks for joining today. Today I'm going to tie the black mamba replaceable squirmy wormy. Um, if you just joined for the first time today, thanks very much. And if you obviously watched my previous tying and videos, I've tied squirmy previously and I've fished it in quite a few of my videos, so if you have a look at those you'll see how productive it is in different colours. But the one I'm doing today is a great winter one. It's good winter combination colours of chartreuse and black. You can tie them in weighted, obviously using a bead, and unweighted without, and both are deadly on that day depending on how you're fishing them. So you need both in your box, but the one I'll tie today is the weighted version. So don't need that many materials. We've got 3.2 brass bead on the hook there now in the vise. Now it's up to yourself. If you want, you can put a tungsten on, or you can put a bigger one on, or a smaller, depending on how fast you want the worm to sink. Sometimes you do want it to go down through the depths quick, and other times you definitely don't. So choice is your own, but it's this method of tying the replaceable that is really reliable. I must have tied it for 10 years now, no problem, different colours, and using the materials I'm going to show you today, and it's never let me down, or a hell of a lot of people who I know who use this method of tying. So we'll crack on, get it tied. So we'll start behind the bead. Just put a bit thread down. And then we'll just put a base down towards where the barb would be. It doesn't have to be particularly touch and turns, because you're going to be covering it over. It's just something for the flexi floss to get a hold of, basically, when you're forming the loops. So the bit that actually holds the material onto the hook is this, which is flexi floss. Now, when I do my worms, whatever I do my bodies with, I try and match up the flexi floss. So if I'm doing hot pink, I'll use hot pink flexi, red, etc, etc. So we're using black today. So that's what we're going to do. So we'll take a bit of flexi, maybe about, I don't know, 3 or 4 inches or whatever, just one bit, and then we fold it over just to make a loop. And then what we do is, at this stage, we just put the loop on the top, like so, on the bead. Now, this is which is pretty critical. You want to have the loops small. You don't want the loops big, otherwise the tension's not correct. It holds the worm better with the smaller loops. This is why I've seen various methods, replaceable methods tied, and they've used orthodontic loops, and they've used fluorocarbon as a loop. But the only trouble is with that, well, the orthodontic ones that I've seen, they look huge and they look totally out of proportion when you've got the worm bit on. They look like a camel with 2 humps, to be honest, which, you know, it might hold the worm in, but it certainly doesn't look great, you know. So what we'll do, we've come down, we've got our small loop there, so we've come down, we'll take this side off, because obviously we don't need this side anymore. We'll come down, and then we'll form the back loop just by turning it over, like so, and then just over the top. Now you can see you've got a big loop there, so this stage you can actually pull the longer bit, and you can make the loop to the size you want it, really, holding it down on the top, just a few turns over. And then what we do, I normally take a couple underneath as well, That's it. And then you can just put a few tight ones down. We're coming back across this anyway, so we can just go back up the other end. This is just going to be a spare bit, so we're going to cut that off. And what I do is I pull that and just trim it off, pull the tension on, trim it off that way. Now we're just going to form a bit of a body, make the body more even. So, and then we'll put on here, it's olive, holographic. It says olive, but it actually looks chartreuse. And it's in medium. There it is there. In medium. So we take a length of that. And tie it onto the side. This is going to give her a nice body. We'll go back down again. Tie in the chartreuse in, or the olive, whatever you want to call it. And then over start just taking it up. Now the whole idea of this, when I first thought of it many years ago, was the idea is you can retain the bodies if your worm gets snapped off or bitten off. You can basically change it very quickly. So that's the whole idea, and you're not wasting. I've always caught loads and loads of fish on Squirmy because it's a great material. The fish love it, they don't spit it out because it's so soft. But it was a pain when they used to bite the tails off. So this is how I come up with the idea. So if it does get bitten off, you can retain the body, which is obviously your bead, and you've made your body up, then you can just slip a new one in as you go. So that's the whole idea of it. So then we'll just put finishing loops in there. Now what I'm going to do with this, it's your own personal preference here. You can either varnish it at this stage, or you can use bug bond or any UV resin what you've got, what you use. So what I'll do, I'll just put a thin, for the sake of the video, keep it shorter, I'll just put a thin coat of UV resin on, which I normally do anyway, and then I'll do a little coat of varnish after that. This just gives your body a nice coat, hardened coat. Hit it with a light. There you go. Now, like I say, what I would do is put the varnish on there, leave it to dry before I actually thread the worm on. The worm, obviously they come in all different colours on these skirts. So this is the black, they come in hot pink, all sorts of colours. So we'll take the worm bit. Now what I found with these, the easiest way to do it is to wet it a bit, because it runs through these loops, grip it fairly tight. So what you can do is just put you can do both at the same time if you want, and then just pull it through, or one at a time, whatever suits you. Just pull it through, take your time, just pull it through slowly, grab it, and then pull it up and over. You can see those loops gripping the worm, and that's important. otherwise you'll end up the worm. This is what I've seen with other things that doesn't hold the worm properly. You can tell if it's holding the worm properly because when you pull it, that bit in the middle will stay thinner than the normal bit. If it doesn't, then it hasn't got the worm held properly. There's no tension there. But then you can, if you wish, you can just put that back up there again. So there's the. Now you can cut these to whatever length you wish. You don't want them too long because otherwise you often get nips. So normally I would say maybe about 1.5 inches either side will do you. Now these can be the weighted ones, you can use them straight lining, but on the indicator, the bung, obviously same thing, they work really well. But when you're straight line, I like the unweighted ones. I like them on the point. It gives you a lot of control, slowly going down through the layers, and you can kick them. Like I say, if you check out my other videos where I've fished the squirmy wormy, there's one where I do it squirmy wormy 3 methods, and you'll see how I fish it on different lines on the indicator, and you can see how many fish it catches. That's the hot pink one, but to be honest, you know, various colours all work. This is, the worm is really soft, and once the fish mouth it, it's nothing that you're going to spit out, you know, so they take it quite readily, you know. So give this a go. Like you say, in the winter you can't go wrong with black chartreuse, and you know it's a great combination. The squirmy material is absolutely deadly. This method, if you tie it this way, you might find it a touch fiddly when you first start, but after you've done it several times, you know, you'll probably not tie it any other way because it's so quick to replace it. You could even, what you could do with that, if you want, you could take the black one out, pull the black one out, put a green one in, which would go with the chartreuse, so you've got 2 options there straight away. And the secret is the bobbin threader. It's so quick. I've heard people say, oh, it's fiddly to put the worm through. You've seen how quick it is. It's dead easy. You can have them all made up. If they get snapped off, you can put the bodies back in your box if it's absolutely freezing cold, if you find the problem, and just put another worm in when you get back home. But you're not wasting time on the bodies and wasting beads. Whereas if I've seen them done with, they put floss down to put the bead, the worm on and tie it in. But once it's snapped off, that's that fly wasted. So tie some up. I don't think you'll be disappointed. You'll catch a lot of fish with this. If you like it, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and check out all of my other videos if you don't mind, please. Much appreciated. Thanks very much. Cheers now.